The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
You know, I should be in a good mood. You know what I mean? It's we're a week away from the 8-year anniversary of this podcast. I mean, it's exciting that we're still doing it and we're still alive at this week before the anniversary. But you know what? I'm in a fucking bad mood because I'm in fucking traffic. You know what I mean? I'm listening to Talk Without Rhythm with El Goro. But every few seconds, his voice keeps getting quieter and quieter because of all these fucking pings in the group chat about Monster Zero and his fucking technical support. And it's all fucking, it's like, in my phone, I have like fucking, it's like Lord of the Rings parts 4 through fucking 8 of all plug it in, wrench it around, wrench it off. And then before the show, I'm getting ready, I'm on time this time. And then 15 more minutes of Monster Zero tech support. Fuck. Almost 8 years. Not much has changed. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 417 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also in the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, also in Casa de Zero, and also the Lair of the Gods. Once again, we're broadcasting from 4 locations, 4 discrete locations, Raven Shadow.
Ooh, secret look.
And as we always do, we discuss at least one film a week. We argue, we make fun of each other, and we also have not the penultimate episode, Raven Shadow, but the episode before the episode, the Amuse Bouche, right?
That's right. I realized I can't say penultimate.
What? Say it again? Papadopoulos?
Penultimate, right?
Pen.
There's something.
You know how to say like a pen. You know, like Lloyd Dobler got a pen for a gift when he got broken up with. Remember?
Pen
ultimate.
Okay,
like Penn and Teller.
Well, I can say that, but I feel I was doing something wrong with my tongue, which I mean would be.
Have you been told that before?
I mean, that's not it. I don't know what you're doing, but it's wrong. Stop it. I was feeling, Pen Ultimate. Okay, so that's all right. Good, I'm good now. WNBC. Now I really having a hard time because I was gonna do something with Pen Ultimate. Okay.
Well, there you go. Pen Ultimate.
You fucking taught me how to learn, Johnny. That was nice.
I did teach you how to learn. It's a never-ending fucking supply of knowledge.
You didn't do a very good job of it, Wolfie.
No, Pen. It's so easy now.
You failed.
And I'm sorry, MC. I didn't mean to be mad, but it seemed like I've dominated some conversations at the time on the chat, but it felt that could have been an offline chat.
An offline chat?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, it maybe could have been an offline chat.
You know what? I'll remember this the next time you do something like this.
Yeah.
And he's walking you through the stupidest tech support.
True.
Yeah. Who are you to judge anybody about tech support?
No, but sometimes though, when I'm really inept, I would go with Johnny directly. But I'm saying I'm inept. I'm saying when I'm inept. I'm not saying you're inept, but that's when I would have messaged Johnny myself. And only bug him.
It was Johnny's idea. It was Johnny's idea for me to text him, for me to get in touch with him, and pinging up your precious Goro podcast.
Yeah. First of all, I don't believe that you listen to any other podcast that doesn't have your voice on it.
No, man. Now that I got Stitcher, now that Marion hooked me up, I've been.
What episode was it? What was Goro talking about?
There was the one when he was doing Easy Rider and the other Peter Fonda joint, Hell on Wheels,
okay.
or the one,
Yeah.
Satanist.
All right. Look
So
at
I'm
you.
hearing them.
He's pretty smart, huh?
He's fucking smart.
Wait,
No, man.
wait. Is that why you've been a little bit smarter in your reviews lately?
I don't want to talk about it, but I'm saying I've been checking out the Goro catalog now that I have the the Stitcher, and I bumped the episode with the Freaked conversation they were doing about Alex Winter's Freaked. I heard the one about with the war games.
Yeah, I got to listen to that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, he's got one of the best.
Oh, I bet.
One of the best podcasts going for film discussion.
With one of the best voices.
That's
His
right.
voice really sends it home.
That's right, MZ.
He needs more catchphrases than that.
He needs more.
And I will be reviewing the Alex Winter directed and Tom Stearns Freaked.
Well, speaking of Alex Winter,
It's his syntax. It's not only his voice. It's his syntax. It's just perfect. I just love it.
Well, speaking of Alex Winter, MZ, you saw some news today about the next Bill and Ted movie, right?
That second trailer dropped.
Yes.
Like my balls.
So with a huge clang?
Huge divot right in the road. Oh, it's awesome. I can't wait.
So it's coming out.
Finally
It's coming out digital same day.
Yeah. We see Death in the trailer. We see their daughters in the trailer. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Waited a long time for this. We've all waited a long time for this.
I haven't.
Not a Bill and Ted fan?
I am. I'm a very much fan of the first two movies. I have no desire to see this whatsoever.
Wow.
What if we do it on the show?
You're not,
I will be absent. I have to work that night.
Oh, come on.
you'll watch it. You're not fooling anybody.
I mean, I'm not fooling anyone.
You're not fooling anybody. You'll watch it. At some point, you'll watch it.
Well, MZ knows what Aries is doing, apparently. So
I do.
I was still convinced.
You were convinced of what?
I thought Alex Winter was going to be the breakout one.
You were definitely wrong about that one.
No,
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, to be fair, I think a lot of people were wrong
Not that
about.
Alex Winter hasn't done well for himself.
I think a lot of people were wrong about Keanu. Because you guys remember when was it 47 Ronin, and like he came out with a bunch of these movies in a row that people were like people were real down on him, right? Like especially after like The Matrix, I feel like there was this turn against him where he put out this string of movies and people were like, fuck this. But somehow he turned it around like a 180. I don't know if it was John Wick or if it was before John Wick, but people were giving him shit about Constantine still, you know? So
well, to be
Johnny Mnemonic.
oh, that movie's fine. That movie's awesome.
You think so? Huh?
Yeah.
I saw that in the theater. I wasn't too impressed. Then I think it kind of it started with him with the Matrix films, and like the first one was great. It set the standard for the way visual effects were done at that time, and it made him break out as well. Not so much break out as an action star because he had speed under his belt as well, but Matrix kind of made him jump up to that second level of not only action but also in the world of computers and also in the world of industrial rock or something on that idea. And then the sequels kind of came out and they kind of faltered after that. And then he started falling into a string of another really bad films. But and it seems like the Wick films have brought him back from from a high point of obscurity.
I don't know about obscurity, man.
John Wick films.
but I mean,
Maybe no, on a high level. He was in the B class of actors.
no, I mean he had some stinkers like Chain Reaction and shit, but I mean, or whatever the one that he was like. I think he played like a serial killer at one point. And for a while there was the talk of like Keanu Reeves with short hair was a good movie. Keanu Reeves with long hair was a bad movie. Obviously that's changed with the Wick. But I mean, he was in the Dracula. He was really good in the first Parenthood. They made that's like
Oh yeah.
that's like
Oh yeah.
where it
He
keeps
is
me
good in Parenthood, actually.
Yeah, he was the fucked up like Trent Reznor haircut from like 19.
Yeah, he was the drag race driver.
Yeah, and he gave Joaquin Phoenix porn.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys? I forgot he was in the Neon Demon. You guys remember that? He was like the.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm just looking to see. So John
He was also in that. I was just gonna say he was also in the in that. I can't remember the name of it. It was like a hyper reality, kind of like animated but not animated.
Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in a couple weird ones after the Matrix films. He did like Something's Gotta Give, Thumbsucker, Constantine, Scanner Darkly, The Lake House, Street Kings, Day the Earth Stood Still. He did a few others I haven't even heard of, and then he did Man of Time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and he also did the that film that we reviewed about maybe 4 years ago with Eli Roth's wife.
Oh
I forget the name of
God,
it.
that was the worst.
Yeah,
Knock,
that was bad.
I was gonna say Man of Tai Chi. We also did.
Yeah,
yeah, that was real good. But I would say at that point, that's about when things started to turn around because he did John Wick 1 in 2014, and I feel that that's when perception of him turned around. And if you guys remember, there was a lot of like social media stuff about him just being like a cool fucking dude and like buying shit for people and just hanging out on park benches and just being a fucking good dude, you know, and doing good things. And I think that with the combination of the John Wick movies really kind of turned things around.
Right in the shot.
Well, like this is. I was just gonna say there's this video online of him riding the subway, and he gives his seat to someone else. I think it was an older lady.
Yeah.
And he just gave the seat up to her. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few of those things that happened, which I think just really kind of, kind of raised his stature a little bit. So yeah, and then he also did another movie we did was The Bad Batch in 2016, which he was in for a smaller role. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I remember the film, but I don't remember him in it.
It had Jason Momoa in it as well.
Yeah.
It was a Mad Max thing when like the girl like cut her leg off, or she was like didn't they eat people? They went like caravans in the desert.
And Jim Carrey was in it. And Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah.
It should have been awesome. It didn't work for me, but I think didn't Myra oddly love it for some reason?
I think so. I think I mostly enjoyed it, but yeah. I mean, so now he's like a huge, like back one of the biggest stars probably. With Matrix 4 is filming, John Wick 4.
Yep.
He even mentioned the other day that he'd be open to doing another Constantine movie if they did. I don't know if that would happen, but I think the dude. What's up?
No, go ahead.
I think the dude who played Constantine on the show, is it Matt Ryan or something like that? Raven Shadow, do you know his name?
Matt Ryan.
I thought he was pretty good as Constantine. So
yeah, because
he looks the part
and he's European. I love you, Keanu, but your fucking Johns doesn't have black hair and he's not American. He's not.
So let me check the chat room here. Evil Corny posted a picture of Lloyd Dobler about 10 minutes ago. And he also said, MZ, congratulations on the job.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats, buddy. I'm happy for you, man.
Thanks.
Are you?
So am I.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, 4 months, man. I've been sitting on my ass.
It's just in time, too, because isn't the extra unemployment running out soon or something?
It's supposed to be, yeah. This is the last week of it, but they're trying to extend it with, I think it's like a lesser amount. But that's what's happening. And as good as the money might be, I just want to get back to work.
There you go, man.
Yeah. I wanted to get back to work on the second day that I was let go. I couldn't handle it. It was driving me nuts.
But I think you've adapted, though. You've watched a lot of Golden Girls.
Yep.
Yes, I watched a lot of Golden Girls, a lot of Three Stooges, watched a lot of All in the Family, watched a lot of Sanford and Son.
So you use your time wisely, apparently.
Watched a lot of Cosby.
Whoa.
Our boy
Our
boy Tim Collins says, "Oh Lord, if they do another Constantine, please base it on the comic book." Wasn't the film based on one of the comics though? Like loosely, right?
Yes, it was loosely inspired by Dangerous Habits.
Yeah, which is one of the greatest fucking stories.
Yeah, and I mean, I was feeling masochistic, so I finally watched it, and it was. I don't blame Keanu, and there are a lot of folks who like the film who aren't aware of the comic, and it's not. So I'm not gonna be like, if you fucking like it, you know what I mean, you're fucking dumb. But if you don't know, if you know the source material, it's a fucking stick in the fucking balls. You know what I mean?
My guess is that they basically were like, nobody knows Constantine anyways. We're just gonna do whatever the fuck we want, and then, you know, that obviously backfired.
Which is really kind of I was just gonna say, which is really kind of unusual for Reeves, because he has openly stated, and this was a long time ago, before. Actually, I think it was sometime after Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, that he says that he's not one for sequels. He doesn't like the idea of sequels, but right now it seems to be propelling his career back in order.
Well, I would, I mean, with the amount of money I'm sure he's getting paid, I would be okay with changing my mind if that's what he said at one point in time.
Yeah.
Because he's getting paid a lot to do these movies.
So far, though, they haven't been. I mean, I was not a fan of the two other Matrix sequels. I didn't think it needed more than that, but maybe he's just having fun. He's at a point where he'll do what he wants to do and just work with people and just, you know, fuck you if you don't like him. You know, he just he's doing his own thing.
Ravenchild, there's a question for you in the chat. Evil Corny wants to know, how many From the Canopy episodes have you listened to?
Oh, so many countless Canopy episodes. Count them all. No, man, I'm working my way down the ranks, man. I finished up the Rosenbaum. I've heard every inside of you. I checked out some Goro.
Raven Shadow. They release new episodes all the time. You realize you're not caught up.
I'm not gonna fucking go. I can't all 500 episodes of Goro, but no, Canopy is on my. I could show it to you like Monster Zero did.
Monster Zero.
Monster Nero, but no, I got Friday. Yeah, it's on my feed. Can you see that, Corny?
No,
I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check out Cable Killers 32 Black Woman. That's exciting. That's a new one.
And
check out.
Right after Corny asked the question, Marion said, "How many has he been on?" That's the answer.
Yeah. What am I gonna be on? No, I'm gonna check out fucking. Oh man. Episode June 10th. You know what I mean? Movie Massacre 105 bonus, the Skip Shea interview. Check that out. He's fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Episode June 10th.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
What do we got?
Marion also mentions River's Edge. That movie's fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great Keanu
And
film.
he was also... And to go back to what Goro was doing, he was also in Freaked.
Yeah, Dog Boy, right?
Yeah. That's a great movie too, Freaked.
So how was that, and Goro mentioned that too, how was that rumored to be the third Bill and Ted movie? Was it pitched like that, or was it just because they were in it together?
They're just in it together. Although Reeves isn't...
he's not credited, right?
He's not credited in it. No.
Yeah.
But he definitely does play the dog-faced boy.
Yeah. The dog-faced gremlin.
I mean, listen to this cast. Alex Winter, Randy Quaid, William Sadler, which is another connection to Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Megan Ward, Michael Stoyanov, who was doing Blossom at the time, Mr. T, Bobcat Goldthwait, and Brooke Shields.
Such a fucking bizarre cast.
How can you pass up on something like that? Look at that shit.
Shit. And apparently
This movie is insane. And trying to find this DVD is almost impossible.
Yeah, when did you get that? When did you get that copy?
I got this copy, Jesus, a long time ago. I don't remember what year, but I know I got it at Borders, and and every time I went there, it just kept on staring back at me, and I didn't pick it up. Then I just finally bought the bullet, bit the bullet and said, yeah, I'll pick it up. I mean, not that I haven't seen it before, I have, but I wondered if I would invest I think it was like $27 or something like that. And
Jeez, Borders, Jesus Christ, on sale for $30. Right
yeah,
now,
but it is worth it because not only in terms of its high rewatchability value, but also when you look to see how much this DVD is worth now, oof, hell of an investment. You can't find that anywhere.
So don't buy stocks, buy Freaked.
yeah.
Well, please, what would you do? I mean, after the show tonight, I could pop this right in my DVD player and watch it and enjoy it and laugh.
You could.
It's fucking brilliant. It's so good. It's crazy. I mean, it even has a complete script read with most of the cast, but it's pretty amazing. It's pretty fucking amazing, this movie. I love it.
That's great. I saw it probably 18 when it came out on VHS.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. So our boy Tim says the film, he's talking about Constantine, the film didn't stink unless you knew the comic, either his own or when he was on Swamp Thing.
Fucking bubblegum, Tim. Okay? Fucking bubblegum, dog.
Hey, Corny says that Keanu Reeves is the one he'd like to see as Batman.
Think he's too old?
Maybe now. I don't know. Also, we got Matchel of Omaha hanging out. What's up, Matchel?
Hey.
Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. Let me see what else.
Boy.
Evil Corny says Johnny Lee Miller is who I'd like to see be Constantine.
Interesting.
And Marion says Keanu was a good Constantine, and I will die on that hill.
Marion.
She's dying alone.
And
Wow.
Matchel said 4 minutes ago, Raven Shadow just finished reading the internet too. I think it was when you were reading those podcast episodes.
Yeah. Episode Internet Strikes Back. No, it's in my favorites. Okay. I got all kinds of things in my favorites. I got the what's the little cute little program you do, Johnny, with the Star Wars? That's in my favorite
program.
Yeah. What do you call that? You call that
Force Insensitive.
Yeah, it's on there. I had that. Little picture of a little the little Mandalorian helmet. It's on my fucking favorite. Yeah. Talkus Jericho. There was a dope episode when he was hanging out with Sebastian Bach. I like that. Yes. In love with Michael Raven Session. No, not Michael Raven.
Raven Session. What?
No, in love with Michael Rosenbaum. I was getting confused.
You imagine yourself as Michael Rosenbaum?
No, but I think we'd be friends, and we should be friends.
Yeah, you think so?
So we make the same jokes.
Oh.
Yeah,
all right. Well, we have some announcements about next week. Oh, actually, Dr. Chris says, is my podcast one of your favorites?
It is. I love the fucking dead TV fucking when shows go to die. No, they do a deep
shows go to die.
No, it's awesome. He had the Yancey Butler on, and it's fun. The Clerks TV show. I'm into all that shit, Chris.
Oh, shit. So let's talk a little bit about next week. Next week, July 30th, Thursday, July 30th, around 8 p.m., our 8-year anniversary show. We've been doing this shit for fucking 8 years, and it blows my mind that we're still doing it and people are still listening, so we appreciate all of you guys. But next week, we're doing something a little different. In fact, it's kind of a vanity project for me that I'm dragging these guys along on. So I appreciate everyone being agreeable. But what I'm doing is I'm taking all three of my worlds and I'm combining them into one show. So you guys know I like you guys. I like movies. I like horror, right? We've established that doing this show for 8 years.
Yeah.
I also like wrestling. I like professional wrestling. And I have the Five Hossmen who also like professional wrestling. And we did a podcast when we could schedule it, but it's been a while since we've done one. But we talk every day. We hang out. We talk about wrestling. So next week, joining us on Trick or Treat Radio will be the Five Hossmen. So there's going to be 4 additional people. So it'll be 8 people at once. I don't know how the fuck this is going to work. I have no idea. For 8 years. Oh, look at that. I didn't even think of that.
8 for 8.
8 for 8.
Yeah.
So we all have 8 people joining us for one film discussion. We're going to be doing a wrestling movie. We haven't decided the wrestling movie yet. As soon as we do, we'll let you guys know. But after that, we're going to say goodbye to the 5 Hossmen. Well, actually, 3 of the Hossmen. 2 are sticking around. Myself and Mars. Because then we're doing a Force Insensitive takeover. And my boys from the Force Insensitive are going to come on Trick or Treat Radio and join us for a Star Wars-esque review. It's not a Star Wars movie, so don't get your hopes up too much. But it is a 1978 Japanese knockoff called Message from Space. I think you guys are going to fucking freak out when you see this. MZ, let me tell you who's in it, because even though it's a Japanese production, it does have some American actors. In a cameo in one of the scenes is Chris Isaac, the musician Chris Isaac.
Wait, what year is it?
1978. Yep.
Chris Isaac.
Yeah. And also starring Vic Morrow.
Stop it.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
So that is fucking Message from Space from 1978. It is actually available on YouTube. So if anyone wants to just watch it, just fucking watch it on YouTube. It's on there. So check it out. I don't know if I haven't watched the one on YouTube, but I'm not sure if it's subtitled or if it's dubbed. So it'll be fun to find out which one it is. But yeah, so we're doing Message from Space from 1978, Japanese production. We'll be doing that for the Force Insensitive and to Force Insensitive crossover. And then after that, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. It's going to be the 4 of us. And we're going to do Ask Us Anything. So we want you, the listeners, to send us your questions. Anything at all. You want to know what Michael Ravenchadow, how much he drinks in a night? You want to know how many Uncrustables he can knock down in a week? You want to know, I don't know, how many pieces of squash MZ can eat in one sitting? How long it takes Aries to kill a bottle of whiskey? Answer, 2 hours.
Or less.
Yeah, or less. Anything at all. If you guys want to know what our favorite, favorite things are, favorite movies that we've done on the show, anything at all, we want your questions. And when you send us your questions, you get into the running to win a prize. MZ, do you want to talk about at least one of those prizes? We might throw some other stuff in there, but why don't you tell the folks about one of those prizes?
Well, Bob, one of the prizes is going to be let's put it this way. 7 years ago, I started working on a film for Open Vision Films. It was my 4th film with them. And as of just a few days ago, it has finally found its way onto DVD.
Yeah.
And here it is, finally. Morbid Tales. Put up by Black Lava Entertainment, which is a company out in Germany. And this is the latest from the fine folks at Morbid Vision Films, with director Brian Paulin. So this has a few features that come along with it. The movie's 75 minutes long. It comes with an audio commentary, which I am involved in.
Nice.
Also has German subtitles. So if you want to read this thing in German, you can.
Achtung.
And if you shut up,
sit down.
Shut up. And also, it comes with a blooper reel and making of.
Are you in the bloopers?
I am in the bloopers, but I don't
Good.
do anything bloopy. I don't do anything bloopy.
Bloopy?
Everyone else does something bloopy. I don't do anything bloopy because I am a consummate professional, and you'll see that when with my amazing acting skills in this movie. And it's an anthology, 3 stories that Brian Paulin did back in the early 90s. 3 stories called Sacrificial Birth, The Shifters, and Final Scream. And it's all about this guy sent from hell who demands to have himself entertained by these 3 guys, and I'm one of them. And we have to entertain this man. And if we fail, then a bloody ending will be calling for us. And if you know anything about Brian Paulin films, he certainly delivers on the gore. And you will not be disappointed here. I watched it just the other day. And you'll be pleasantly surprised. Let's put it that way. So you got the 3 short stories. I'm in the wraparound, as well as Brian Paulin himself, Joe Olson, and Chris Kinnery. So check it out, and this will be coming your way if you guess the price is right.
So how we'll do it is, let's see. So we can either, do you guys want to pick the best one, or you just want to do a random thing?
Do we want to limit ourselves now? Let's see what we get. Maybe we'll do some incentive, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Like how deep is the dive?
MZ, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, how about, we could, random. I think random is good.
Yeah, we could do
that way everybody gets a chance.
Yeah, I don't want people to feel like they have to go crazy to send a voice message. So we'll do a random pick.
Yeah, use their brain.
We could maybe do bonus points or something like that for the best question. But so if you guys want to get in on that, we're gonna send you a copy. It's a signed copy, right, MZ?
It's a signed copy of from Brian Paulin, and I think it's also signed by Rich George. I can't really tell. I'm gonna have to ask Brian. But it also says 30 years of gore.
And if whoever wins it, if they want to, they can have your signature on it too, right? Would you do that if they asked you to?
No.
Why? Maybe on the inside cover.
Maybe I'll write on the DVD.
You're in it, man. Maybe someone will watch it.
I am in it.
Yeah. So I think if someone wants it, they should be able to get your autograph on it. So
yes.
So
I will sign it. I will.
There you go. So if you guys want to get in on this, all you got to do is send us a voice message. So send us a voice message for next week. All you got to do is just ask us a question, or you know what, just whatever. If you can't think of a question, just let us know how long you've been listening. What some of your favorite episodes are, some of your favorite moments, or whatever you want. Like, this is completely open. We just love hearing from you guys. So just whatever you want to do. If you want to ask us a question, go for it. But it is going to be an Ask Us Anything segment. So questions are preferred, but feel free to just send us whatever, because we normally get a huge turnout for these milestones, and I would love to hear from a lot of you folks as well, especially people from all over the globe. If I know we have people listening in most countries at this point in time. So Sorry, not countries. I should say continents, because there's a lot of countries out there. We have people listening pretty much in every continent in the world. I'd love to hear from people, in Finland, in Russia, in fucking South America, wherever, because I know people are listening. So go ahead and and send us a message, especially if you're a longtime listener, or if you're someone who hasn't listened in a long time. I would just love to hear from you guys. Or if you've never called in ever, I really would love to hear from you guys too. So it would be awesome to hear from a lot of folks next week. And once again, you can ask us anything. It can be related to the history of the show. It could be anything at all. If you want to know what I eat as a vegan, if you want to know what MZ puts on his hot dog, whatever the fuck you can think of, it's completely open. Yeah, lots.
And by the way, the DVD is all region. So
okay.
Where you live is going to play no part in it. You'll get the DVD and it will play on your player, guaranteed.
Perfect. So there you go. So we'll do a random pull for that, and then we may throw some other stuff in there as well. Like I said, it's obviously a little bit difficult with everyone being further away, but I'm pretty sure. You guys can coordinate something. Raven Shadow, you might have some extra stuff hanging around, right?
Yeah. And I got some stuff to drop off to Aries and MZ too, because I'll be in their neck of the woods usually on most Sundays anyway. So
okay, so there you go. So we'll put something together. So we'll pick one winner from the 8-year anniversary. But to enter, you have to send in a voice message. And how about this? If Patreon, I'll do one better here. Patreon supporters, if any of our Patreon supporters send in a voice message, you get 2 entries.
Oh, Snoop!
So if you that way, because I want to thank our Patreon supporters and give them a little something extra.
Yeah.
But you have to be proactive and actually let us know that you want to enter by sending in a voice message. And then if you do, if you send in a voice message and you're a Patreon supporter, you will get 2 entries into the contest. So you'll have double the chance of winning potentially over people who aren't Patreon supporters. So, and if people out there are not Patreon supporters and want to be for the extra little bonus here, there's no better time than jumping on it right now. Head on over to patreon.com/trickortreatradio. For as little as $2 a month, you can get in on that and help support the show. If you guys want the extra exclusive bonus episodes, that would be the $5 tier. So take a look at that. We put out an episode every single month, something a little bit different format from what we normally do. And there, can be some interesting topics. So definitely give those a look. And just for $5 a month, you get to help support the show, keep us going, and you get something a little extra for it. And also, if you do it before next week, you will also get an extra entry into the contest. So we would appreciate any and all support from Patreon. Also, you guys can head on over to trickortreatradio.com, scroll down to the bottom, and click on the Amazon logo. You click on it, it's going to bring you right to Amazon, and it inputs our affiliate link. Everything you purchase in that session gets attributed to us. It doesn't cost them any extra, Raven Shadow.
Well, it's another way to help keep the lights on.
So we would appreciate if you would help keep the lights on. And finally, head on over to trickortreatradio.com, click on the store, and there you're going to see some digital stuff. We got some greatest hits, volumes 1 through 3. Go ahead and give those a look. They're inexpensive, $3 a pop, I believe, and you get about 90 minutes of content right there. So give those a look, especially if you're a new listener or a fairly recent listener and you haven't heard some of the older stuff. There's some choice cuts on there that you can kind of check out. So, all right. So that's going to wrap things up. I'm looking forward to next week. I can't wait. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be hectic. And looking forward to having some of my best buds hanging out with me and some of my best buds out there hanging out with us live and listening. And tell your friends, because it's going to be, I want to be a party next week for the 8-year anniversary. I want to get a lot of people checking out the live show. So if people wouldn't mind, I'm going to create an event page for it. If you guys wouldn't mind sharing it, inviting people, that would be phenomenal, just to get some more eyes and ears on things. So, all right, Raven Shadow. So you sit down to watch Relic. A real uplifter of a film here. What do you do to prepare?
I had a guy come over.
You had a guy come over?
In the yard, okay. We wore masks, okay. So listen, it's been a little, I've been kind of burning the candle at three ends. You know what I mean? It's weird.
How do you do that?
In the sides, in the middle. You know what I mean? I got fucking problems. So I'm helping, Al, get the foot. You get the foot thing. So I've been doing stuff from my parents' house. So I'm like, hey, I know a guy. He does some like what do you call it? Landscaping, right? Right.
Yeah.
The grooming.
Yeah.
Guy groom. You know what I mean? Because I have a couple of bushes that are very like 70s bushes out there. They're kind of getting a little out of control. So I'm like, all right, why don't you come over? What can you do? Because I don't think I want to do this. And I got a quote for the dollar amount, and it's higher than I thought. But to be fair, he's doing the disposal of it. But so I kind of disappointed because I was hoping I could like go to work and come home and I'd be all fucking Professor Xavier cut in my yard, but not much the case. So I guess I'll do it myself. And Aries might be getting a phone call soon. Just saying. Will you help me with my yard, Aries? I'll buy you
pay me.
I'll give you mozzarella sticks and cheese pizza and whiskey. Maybe this is more of an offline. This is kind of what I was talking about. This is more of an offline type conversation. I'll get back to you. So I guess, you know what's funny? Dementia. So I guess getting ready for this flick, I strapped on.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories.
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
we have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
Trick or Treat Radio is the greatest podcast ever invented. The spelling is very bad. I'm not sure who wrote this. And the Deadites, is that a company that procures houses? The Deadites. Oh, it's the Jedites. The Deadites are a fantastic musical act. That is what I was supposed to say. And there you go. There it is. Cheeseburger. Remember to rent the fly, because that's a good movie for making love to.
Jeff Goldblum, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we can get you on the show again sometime soon. We are back on Trick or Treat Radio. Was that a 2 and 2, MZ?
It was. Fuck the 2 and 2.
All right, so we are back. We're going to talk about a movie now, and that movie is Relic. Let me pull up some stats here. Relic is from 2020. It is rated R. It is 89 minutes. It is a drama horror from Australia. It is written and directed, well, it's actually directed by Natalie Erica James and written by Natalie Erica James and Christian White. And the film stars Emily Mortimer, Robin Nevin, Bella Heathcote, and I guess it has a couple other people, but they're pretty small roles. And Chris Bunton as Jamie. And the synopsis: a daughter, mother, and grandmother are haunted by a manifestation of dementia that consumes their family's home. I actually think that's spoiler. Not really spoiler, but I think it says too much. I think they would have been better off not saying all that. All right, well, Raven Shadow said he's fixing something. Be back in a minute. I highly doubt if he's fixing something that he will actually be back in a minute.
Yeah. Smoking something is what he's doing.
So we'll...
Ollie took him out for a smoke.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see when he's back. But we'll just begin with that. I'm not waiting around. So Relic is, once again, directed by Natalie Erica James, and this is a feature film debut, and it is was distributed by IFC Midnight here, at least in America. I'm not sure about the rest of the world. But she, let's see, up to this point, she's been mostly like a second unit director or assistant director, and she has done some shorts. But this is, as I mentioned, her first feature film. So I'm trying to think if I thought I recognized Emily Mortimer from this movie. I'm trying to think of, she's been in some stuff I have seen. She was in Lars and the Real Girl. She was also in Mary Poppins Returns and some other stuff. So I've seen her in films, but I thought she looked familiar, but nothing really jumped out at me that I remembered. So, all right. So, I've been actually really looking forward to talking about this film. I don't know what you guys think. I watched this, and it just seemed to hit me right in terms of like I was in the right mood for it, because I could see definitely not being in the right mood for this film, and I've just been thinking about how you guys would perceive this film, or how you would have sort of like think about it when we started to review it. And that was actually kind of fun to think about, like what you guys would think about this movie, because I could see this going any which way. But so let's start jumping into things here. So I thought this had a really kind of a very creepy, subtle opening. Kind of a nice beginning. And I also thought that right off the bat, there was some nice kind of handheld third-person camera shots that added some really nice perspective. And I thought that it was really effective for just creating this sense of tension. This is going to be a difficult one to sort of dive into, because I don't want to give too much away. It's not super spoilery in terms of like twists. But I think there is some things that are better left unsaid when talking about this film that I think would be better for the listener, or the viewer in this case, to kind of discover on their own. What's you guys' take, MZ? Like MZ, do you think that this is one of those films that's better sort of left up to the viewer to kind of see things on their own, or do you think it's okay to talk about?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This movie leaves a lot to interpretation. It leaves a lot of doors open for you to judge for yourself what is really going on here. The director left it very vague, intentionally too. Very vague for you to decide for yourself what the problem is with the people and the problem with the house. And it was walking that very fine line of between what is demonic and what is paranoia. And like I said, it walks a very fine line. Smartly too, I might add. When I first started watching this, I was feeling kind of. I mean, it was looking good. It was, the acting was good. The setting was beautiful. It just has that. It has almost a Hammer feel to it in a sense. But it also has a bit of say, not in terms of plot, but just in terms of style. Movies like The Babadook or Hereditary.
Yeah.
But at first, I wasn't too jazzed about this. Like the first 10 minutes in, I was feeling very underwhelmed by it, and I don't know why. Because as the movie went on, it started picking up steam, and the more steam it picked up, the more interesting it got. But I think what we have here is a very delicately told story of whatever you want it to turn out to be. Because I mean, because personally for me, it's kind of left to your own devices. What do you think is going on?
So, I'm so eager to speak about this movie, about especially some of the end stuff, because to me, like I said, I think I was tuned right in to this because I felt like I could tell exactly what she was doing with this film from the beginning. And because of that, I felt like I was clued in and into what was going on. Not that it's confusing, because on the surface, I think you can take it as a creepy movie, but it is make no mistake, and it's not too thinly veiled, so I feel I can say this without giving anything away, but this is a parable about growing old and losing loved ones. And I think I'm just going to lay it out there, I think it's powerfully done in the way that it presents this, because, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think the thing that a lot of people fear, and I bet if you did one of those fucking, survey says polls, what is the thing most people are afraid of? It would be death or losing loved ones, right? Wouldn't you say that most people would have that answer?
Mm-hmm.
So this takes that idea and turns it into a horror movie. And I think that that's brilliant, because that is scary as fuck, losing the people that you love, and how these characters sort of reconcile that and how they decide to embrace it or not embrace it, I feel is really interesting. And it's presented in such a serious, dramatic way that it has maximum impact, and it feels like a horror film without really being a horror film. I mean, I hate to say it's not a horror, because it absolutely is a horror film. This is, make no mistake, a horror film, but it's taking a concept that typically isn't thought of as horror and juxtaposing that onto a creepy backdrop. And
yeah.
And I this one left me, at the end, I was just kind of sitting there for a bit, like wow, it had a lot of impact. And I guess maybe this is a little revealing about myself, but I'm someone who doesn't really deal with loss incredibly well. I thankfully have not lost any of my parents yet. I have lost grandparents. I know MZ, obviously, I know you lost your dad a few years ago, and I know he just had his birthday as well. So I'm sure that,
today.
It's today. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was yesterday.
Yeah,
okay.
It's his birthday.
So, obviously I know some, people have a lot more loss than I have in life, but it's something that I haven't really come to terms with. And when that happens for me, like I don't know how I'm going to react when I start, when I lose my parents or loved ones, like. So for me, it was interesting to see this and to see how they presented it and how some characters reacted to what was going on. I just thought it was really interesting, and it's just a really interesting sort of character study about how to deal with this and how I don't know. Oh, someone's talking in the background.
Of course.
Raven. Oh, by the way, Raven Shadow fixing something for a minute. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a minute. Yeah. Yeah. It deals a lot with acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the possible mind issues that is either demonic or psychological. The rest of the immediate family that's in that house is realizing, they go through the stages of when they see a loved one, basically falling apart right in front of them.
Yeah.
A little bit of denial, anger, acceptance. I don't know what the stages are in what order, but it's something to that effect. And but the house itself also plays a very big role in what's going on between possible schizophrenia or possible demonic possession. And Raven Shadow's back. Can't wait to hear this. And
wait, hold on.
Like I said, the house.
Hold on.
Okay.
All right, Raven Shadow, what's your verdict?
Treat.
A minute. You said you'd be gone a minute. You had to fix something.
Everything's fine.
Dog years.
Situation normal. How are you?
A minute. That was, you sent that message 12 minutes ago.
We had a slight weapons malfunction. Very, very dangerous.
No.
What?
Nope. You said 1 minute. That was 12 minutes.
But it was like a.
You're in timeout. You're in timeout. Go stand.
Shut off his microphone. Shut off his.
Go stand.
There was a problem.
Go stand in the corner.
Shut off his microphone.
Raven Shadow, we're doing a live show. Go stand in the corner.
I don't want
to. Blair Witch style.
I don't want to be the Blair Witch. That's a problem.
We had a really nice conversation about the movie so far, and you missed it.
Yep. And I'm not repeating it.
Yeah.
I'll check it out on Friday when it drops on iTunes and Stitcher and all the platforms. You can also find From the Canopy and the Stitcher and the El Goro program and the one that Phil talked a lot on.
Jesus.
You know what I mean?
What a mess.
It was a mess.
What a mess you are.
What a mess. If you want to hear about that, you can ask that question next week and I'll shoot for real.
I'll never figure out how you've managed to live this long.
Sure. Hot meat kettle. So. Aries is pissed.
He is pissed. He's pissed at you. He was there the whole time.
Yeah, look how...
He's quit again.
Yeah.
Open your mind.
It was so bad, Johnny. You don't even fucking know what happened.
You're right, I don't know. I don't care.
Huh?
I don't care, Ram Shadow.
That hurts my feeling.
No, Aries is the one with the one feeling.
All right.
No, feeling my tooth. It hurts my tooth.
Oh, your tooth. Okay, I see. Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so where were we?
So you got two areas where both come into play. Both ideologies come into play. You got the possible demonic side where the grandmother is gone, missing for 3 days, or whatever, or 2 days, or whatever.
Yeah,
comes back,
yep.
and she becomes a completely different person.
Well,
that might have some demonic ideologies to go along with it because of what she. Well, actually, she doesn't outright say what happened. She's kind of distant from her family when she gets back, and then there's the psychological health side where in the house there is just a ton of black mold in the walls, and what black mold does is fuck with your mind, fuck with your neurosystems. You inhale that, it fucks with your head, it fucks with your mind, your heart, your eyes. You could be seeing shit and possibly die from it. So you got two somewhat equal sides making the case for what the problem is with the grandmother, either demonic or schizophrenia.
So, and I guess this film does work on multiple levels. For me, how do I say it without giving a ton away? It was clear cut for me what it was. I'll just say that. I was on board the whole time with what I was thinking about what this movie was saying. But I think on the surface, there is something there to say, hey, this could be something, a physical or supernatural manifestation, or that's a metaphor for something. And that's the part where it's interesting. And if you go down that metaphor route, I think it is super interesting, especially some of the stuff that they do with the house later on. And even early on.
Oh, yeah.
It's one thing I really want to talk about, but I feel, there's a lot of metaphor here, because, for instance, there, all these, I don't know if it was the attic or whatever. It looked like the attic because of the way the roof was shaped, but there's all these boxes of memories in the attic or wherever this room was, which to me signified like her brain, her memories, and I loved the little notes that she left for herself. Like, I thought that was such a good touch, especially as we advance on in the film, right? I thought that was such a great touch. There's so many just mundane actions in this film that are that are like done so creepily. Like, they're just, even the grandmother making her candles, something as subtle as that. Or there's just so many just regular mundane actions that are magnified by like times 10 for the creep factor. And yeah, this is something all of us will have to deal with or have dealt with already. It's the concept of your loved ones, whether it be in this case, your mother or your grandmother, growing old, and how you deal with that. It's like, yeah, I want to talk more about this movie. I wish we could just go real deep into spoilers, but I just feel that takes away a lot from the experience if people haven't seen this yet. So, Raven Shadow, why don't you throw? I know obviously you missed the first part of this, but I want you to throw out some thoughts.
When this film started, it was already the scariest film I've seen this year.
When it started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're a homeowner, you know why. Because, and it might have been covered, so forgive me for coming in late, but the bathtub being running.
Oh, we didn't actually cover that. So that's that. Yeah, you're like, oh fuck, this is the scariest thing I've seen.
And I'm like, oh my, shut it off.
You're like, does she have homeowners insurance?
I was getting anxiety, Johnny.
Does she have Affleck?
You better get Affleck. You better fucking Matt Damon. You better get fucking dude from The Office. You better get Chris Evans, all the Boston boys to come over. But no, that was fucking terrifying. But okay. But no, I mean this was I'll shoot this. There was some troubling things in this that hit very close to home for me personally. Not only for a loved one I had, but for a loved one that cared for that person.
Yep.
And Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever you want to call it, is its own breed of fucking vicious disease, because unlike some other diseases or whatnot, where it Alzheimer's robs you of time. It's kind of like the coronavirus of diseases, where this is robbing us of time. You know what I mean? Where you lose those memories, and you lose that, and you lose the person that you love, and they're even if they're alive, they're gone before they pass away.
Yeah, it's like they're like a shell of themselves, right? Like
it's like they're watching a movie that only they're seeing. And I can remember from experience, from the progression of my experience, you think, oh, well, everyone gets a little loopy in a while. And there's a lot of denial going on, too. There's denial of the family. There's denial of the loved ones. And that makes it even more challenging.
Yeah.
So when it really kicks in and there's that, maybe I'm getting ahead, but if we're talking about it, when there's that denouement, if you will, when there's that real, like, hey, this is it, it's almost like too late. But we lie to ourselves, and it's a very, very thing where if I'm sick with something, I know what that is, and you can rationalize it. When I get sick, I'll know that I'll have earned whatever I've gotten. But what's shitty about dementia or Alzheimer's is it creeps in and it just takes.
Yeah, and there's really nothing you can do, right? Like, it just happens, and it's not something that you necessarily caused. Like I think what you're alluding to is smoking, right? Like if something happens, you did it to yourself, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm saying I did it, but I'll say I will have earned whatever I end up with.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that to be whatever the fuck. It's just, well, that makes the most sense on paper.
Yep.
But the smoke grandmother, and never drank, never smoked, maybe said 3 or 4 swears in her life.
Yeah.
Did all the right things. Survived, World War II and personal fucking tragedy. And it fucking just takes that away.
Yeah.
I was recognized quite a bit, but some people weren't. And there can be a weird level of you don't know who you're going to see that day when you're taking care of that person. You might see one that is just kind of out of it, or just talking to the air. Or there could be some viciousness that is not that person's fault, but it's how they react to the stimuli.
Yeah. For me, and I forget how long ago this was. It was, I believe, in the early 2000s. My grandfather had Alzheimer's, and it was rough. Like going to visit him and him not knowing who I am, like that fucks with you, right? Like someone who you grew up with and you love, all of a sudden doesn't recognize you, and it's like, what the fuck? This is so fucked up, and it fucked with me to the point that I didn't want to go see him,
Right.
Because it was so hard to be like, hey, we'll call him Papa. Hey, Papa, it's Jesse, it's just so fucking weird. And I just couldn't do it, So for me, that was difficult. And for my mom, who was grieving, during this time, I wasn't there for her to help her, because I was at least looking back at it now, I feel like I was selfish. Well, this makes me feel this way, so I don't want to feel that way, But with her, that's her father, so I can see the difference here in looking at this family and seeing the granddaughter and how she reacted versus how the mother reacted, And then what happens at the end, without giving anything away, you can kind of see, like, oh shit, now how you need to. How you need to react in the future when it's your mother or father or whatever, So that was really, like, that end scene was, for me, was kind of chilling,
Yeah. So, but not surprising either.
No, but I love.
I kind of like that they added that aspect into it, you know?
Yeah, and there was a choice to be made. Like the characters made a choice at the end. I'm not going to say what they did or you know whatever, but I thought that the way they presented that choice was really well done, and it was like
it was
because to me, I might have made the other choice, you know, and you know in the past I have, so that made me really think about it in terms of holy shit. Maybe I will deal with this differently now. You know, like legitimately, this film made me think about how I might react when something like this happens, which for a film to fucking do that, it's kind of powerful, I think, you know?
Oh, 100%. And it's one of those experiences, whether we're talking about the film or we're talking about real life, where you're not wrong in how you deal with it. I think that's a fair statement because it's different. I remember having a conversation.
Yeah. Everyone deals with it in different ways. I mean, that's a fair point, you know, but there is the sort of, and I apologize for interrupting, but you know, after the fact, it's like, shit, did I really do that the right way, you know?
But it's a lot of emotionality, and we're projecting our feelings on somebody that isn't even on that same realm, you know, where I remember just hearing conversations that we'd sit and just kind of talking, and maybe a memory from 1955 would come into play, or, you know, she was a big fan of Willie Nelson, and that was okay. But if you tried to interject something new, you would see like a weird look, like a dog that's been shown a card trick, to quote Bill Hicks. Like, it's almost like if you try to stop the film in their head, that's when they get confused. So you have to almost accept that we're going on the nonsense train right now, and it's hard to. It's funny looking back. You could almost want those nonsense conversations again, in a weird way, you know, instead of forcing our reality onto someone that doesn't speak our language anymore. You know what I'm trying? Maybe I'm not saying it right, but it's a fucked up thing, and it sucks.
And I think the director kind of really nailed it, because I'm thinking that this is something that she went through herself. You know, it's not done over the top. It's not hammed up. It's done with a very subtle touch, and it's treated very seriously. Only it's taking place in a horror backdrop. And I think the director kind of nailed this about as well as you possibly could. And for a first-time director, it's not a bad start.
So there is some more I want to talk about this, but one of the other things too, I guess, one of the other concepts is, so the grandmother had, you know, she lost her husband, right? So, and there was sort of like the concept of the memory of him, and how there was like a keepsake in the house that was always reminding them of the grandfather, right? So it's just interesting how her perspective was presented versus the perspective of the other characters. You know, like, I think that is what really set this movie apart, is that to the grandmother, this is absolutely a fucking horror movie. You know, and I guess in everyone's character, it's a horror movie, but in a different, like, it's different styles of horror movies. Like, one was like a possession or a haunting, whereas the other was like a different kind. So, like, to each generation, it was almost like a different kind of horror movie to them, you know? And that's what I thought was really interesting. That makes it really layered, is the grandmother saw it one way, the mother saw it another way, and then the granddaughter even saw it like a slightly different way than the mother, you know? So I thought that was really interesting, the way that they did that. It was a really layered film in that sense. And, you know, some of the other powerful scenes, there's the scene of the grandmother going with the box of photos out to the backyard, like that. I mean, that was a great way to present sort of what was happening to her. You know, like by making a sort of manifest in reality. I thought that it was a really interesting way to show this sort of what's going on to her mentally, kind of showing it in the physical space. You know, I thought that was pretty interesting. So, Aries, you want to wait to the verdict, or is there anything that you want to?
No, just talking the verdict.
Okay. So once again, I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about that I'm like thinking twice about it because it's getting into slight spoiler territory. But
I'll say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a couple things.
Sure, go for it.
Well, there's a situation. There's an area in the film that I really like how they use the house as a. I'm kind of confused here. Not so much confused that I don't understand, but confused in the way I want to present this. I'm not sure if it's the grandmother's mind as a symbol of the house or vice versa. There's a certain scene in the film that involves the daughter, if you know what I'm talking about. Not the daughter, the granddaughter.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Where there's some symbolism between the house and the grandmother's state of mind. Another thing I like to point out is almost the lack of score in this movie.
Yeah,
I think the idea of having very little amount of score in this film really it really gives it a very uneasy feeling, and that we're in the journey with the daughter and with the granddaughter. So I think the idea of having minimal score was really, really neat. And when it did have score, it was almost like ambient noise.
Yep.
As opposed to being like a full-fledged score, with an orchestra and everything. It just felt very ambient to me. So that also sets up a nice little ratchet of tension, because the ambient noise, while playing out as a score, could also be seen as things going on inside the house. So it has that double-edged sword that works both ways, which I thought was a very nice touch.
Yeah, and I really dug the score in this as well. The guy who did it, Brian Reitzell, it definitely was minimalistic but really effective. He also did the score for Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which we did, which was a really good score. He's done a bunch of other stuff too. He does American Gods. He did Hannibal. He did the score for Hannibal, and a bunch of other stuff as well. So he's done some pretty good stuff. The one thing I thought was interesting, talking about some of the kind of behind the scenes stuff. Did you guys happen to see the producers on this?
Yeah.
Ravishaw, you watched the credits again?
Where's the fucking credits?
Fucking
Russo?
This guy.
Go ahead. Name some people then.
The fucking Russo brothers were in there.
Yep.
Was Eli Roth involved? Am I right in that?
No.
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jake Gyllenhaal was a producer. So was, as you mentioned, the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe Russo. I just thought that was really interesting to see so many huge names involved in this. Go ahead.
No, it's the same. Like, I mean, when the film ended, you kind of have a little fucking moment, and kind of take it all in. And Jake fucking Gyllenhaal, and then other people, and I feel there were like two other people that were like, really, like what was? I feel we're missing two people that also were kind of surprising.
Although one of the producers, Mike LaRocca, is he was the executive producer of this. He's the executive producer of Quantum and Woody.
So is that happening? Is that really happening?
It's been announced, starring Joel McHale, it says. Or rumored to star Joel McHale.
Oh, if he's Woody, that'll be fucking dope.
Yeah, he's Woody. That's what's rumored.
Oh, really? I was talking about that with Marion the other night. She didn't give a fuck, but
Can we humor the old fuck in the room? What's Quantum and Woody?
Blasphemy.
Ooh.
The comic.
Christopher Priest, man.
The Valiant comic, Vincent Van Gogh.
It was Acclaim then, right? Wasn't it?
True. You're right. Right. Valiant became Acclaim.
Yeah.
So you are right, John. Long story endless. It was two childhood friends that grew up together. Woody was a white kid. I forget Quantum's real name, but he was black. And basically Woody became part of the family. When Quantum's father died, they've been estranged for many years, and they meet at the funeral. They find out the dad was involved in some scientific machinations. They go to his lab. Somehow they get these bands. A bomb goes off, but they become forced to be in contact with each other 24 hours, every 24 hours, or else their body will become vapor. They'll dissipate, right, Johnny?
Yep.
So the short answer is it's a comic book.
It's a comic book. That's the short answer.
Okay.
It's like a buddy superhero duo, and it's really funny and really zany and really awesome.
Right, it's billed as the world's worst super team.
Yep.
Oh.
And they have to. What was their powers? They had to clank their gauntlets together.
And I think Woody could do like force fields and Quantum, but Quantum was very much like he became like the Batman hero, the very square jawed one, and Woody just went by his regular name and was very much a horn dog and would have, he was more of an asshole, but he had a background of being from the slums, and there was a funny take on race relations, but at the end of the day they were brothers, even if they were from other mothers, kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and there was a teleport.
And that was written by Christopher Priest, who went on to do Black Panther, which was sort of like the revival of Black Panther and the Marvel Knights line, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, for my money, that was the best Black Panther I had read, because you had Priest on it, you had Mark Teixeira, not the baseball player, doing the art. I think even MD Bright did the art as well. That's where you got the guy from the movie. Who was
Ross.
the guy that was Ross? Everett K. Ross.
Everett K. Ross. That's it. Yeah. Yep.
He introduced the Dora Magi. I'm saying that wrong. When Panther had the two female chauffeurs / bodyguards that were both like going to be his wives. You get to pick one. Like, it was all that dope stuff. A lot of Panther mythos was added during that run, and it was so good.
Yeah,
so
and the movie pulled a pretty good amount from it. So
yeah, highly recommend Marvel Knights Black Panther series.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Check straight. Yeah.
So back to this movie. I don't even know how. Oh, I was talking about the producers.
Sorry.
No. It's
my bad.
No, it's cool. Yeah, I don't recognize anyone else on there, MZ. But yeah, I mean that's some pretty big names attached to it as producers, and obviously this film was put out by IFC Midnight, so it seems like with the names attached, that IFC Midnight may be a little smaller than what you'd expect from something from the Russos and Jake Gyllenhaal, right, as producers. But
yeah,
but still, I mean, I think this is a movie that should be seen for sure. Not everyone's going to like this. I will flatly put it out there that not everybody is going to like this film. Some people are going to want more horror. Some people are not going to like some of the places it goes, and other people may be completely on board with it. So I can see how this could work and not work for some people. So let me just check my notes. If not, we'll start to move onto the verdict. Yeah. So all I'll say about this scene is there was a series of scenes that were really claustrophobic, and I thought the way they did those was incredibly well done.
Yeah.
And I see MZ and Raven Shadow both shaking their heads, so you guys obviously know what I'm talking about. So I thought that was really well done, and just some of the subtle things. I know we talked about this, but some of the things that were happening to the house, you kind of talked about that, MZ, and it just was, oh man, this is one of the movies that we did recently. What was that movie with CM Punk with the house? You guys remember?
Yeah.
The girl on the third floor. Was that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that was a movie where the house sort of represented something. I guess I'll kind of rear back on what I was going to say, hold back on what I was going to say. But I think in this, I think the house is very important to what's going on as well. And I think that it's done really well, the way that they pull it off. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this with people where I could talk more freely, because there's a lot of really interesting points to this. So, MZ or Ravenchild, do you guys have anything to add before we head to the verdict on this one? All right, let's head to the verdict then.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Relic was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts we may have. Let's start with MZ.
Yeah, I admit that at the first 10 minutes of watching this, I really wasn't too sure if I was on board. It just felt very... Well, actually, when I thought about it, the first word that came to my mind was a word that you used, Wolfie, was mundane. But I didn't want to... I didn't want to piggyback that word off of you.
Yeah, you could take
so
it.
I decided not to use it. Then it was mundane. At least to me it was. But then when things started picking up, and the shit that went down. What you got here is a very carefully crafted story of whatever it is that you want it to be. I'm not going to say what, because personally I think it's open-ended. I think there's more of an idea that it might lean towards one rather than the other, but I think it's rather open-ended, and I don't mind that at all, because if the other two people in the house have a hard time understanding what it is that's going on and accept it anyway, we should do the same. This was directed with a lot of care and a lot of effort. Very well done job by our first-time director. I think this is an excellent movie. And look out for one character that I won't say who, but look out for one character that ends up looking like the burn victim at the end of Beetlejuice.
Oh my god.
There's some really good effects done here too. I think we didn't talk about the effects. There's some situations where I wasn't sure what I was looking at, whether it was real or animatronics, and so the special effects department deserves a nod as well, because I think the effects crew here did a very good job, again, of bringing believability to a character, as opposed to putting it over the top and making it hammy and shit like that. This was done with a very serious tone. Very good movie. The lack of score really intensified everything. This is one of the better films of the year by far. Very good movie. This is a definite treat.
All right, let's hear from Michael Ravenshadow.
There's a lot of fucking metaphors here, right? I mean, this is the metaphors of the yin freaking yang, right?
Ravenshadow, what's a metaphor?
I don't know, whatever you fucking want it to be. Don't imagine. Oh, what's a metaphor? No, but like, it's interesting. I don't think of all the horror stuff we've seen in the kind of like horror types this touches upon, like Johnny said, it's very rare that you see it with somebody that's maybe sick. And this wasn't really there wasn't only one character that was going through not going through an illness, but there was a character that was, had own things.
Talking about
that was
Jamie,
him.
Yeah.
And it was good to see these different sides being reflected in a horror movie where them being this way didn't maybe make a difference, but just added to it. Are you dealing with the real life horrors of dementia, or are you dealing with something supernatural, or are you dealing with fucking both? That's pretty fucking terrifying too, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're a pretty teenager with muscles or a big chest dealing with a horror environment, but never do you really see someone that's going through, an end of life stage with these horrors, and what's scarier? Would I rather a fucking monster in my closet, or would I rather losing the memories of those I've loved?
Yeah.
Maybe the monster in the closet I'd rather face.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
You know what I mean? Maybe I could forget some of the years on the show, but overall, I'd want to remember most of it. You know what I mean? But it was fucked up, man. I think when the end hits you, there's kind of like oh, Snoop, we are the one. You know what I mean? Like, there's that, like, what I'm trying to say. Aries knows. He's quating.
I've never been to the bars.
I don't like all kinds of candy bars. It's not a feel-good picture.
No, this is not a feel-good picture. No.
It's not fun.
No, it's not.
But there's some fucking gore shit, like some motherfucker. I was shrieking at the gore that was going on here. Big up, Steve Rook. That was some fucking...
Nice.
Thanks.
I like that.
See? And Steven Van Samson. But I don't want to say much more. Not that I really said anything at all. But it's some gore. There's some sadness, and there's some terror. And yeah, man. Once again, I don't know if I got to watch it again, but I'll say this is a treat, man. This is a treat. Scary treat.
All right, Don here. He's been stifling his words for almost an hour. Let's hear from Aries.
I would like to start by apologizing for every word that's come out of my mouth.
Yeah. Good start.
Yeah. Unleash the Kraken in honor.
I'm about to move to Seattle.
Yeah, I was going to say in honor of the new Seattle Kraken, Aries is going to unleash it.
Respectfully, I would like to disagree with almost every word that has come out of the three of your mouths. This movie, although was a powerful movie with what it was trying to say, it missed a lot of the marks. I don't want to harp too much on it, but the dementia, I've lived with that and with multiple people in my family, and I don't think that this hit the mark with that. I don't feel this director lived with that. I don't think they understand how it works, that the mind forgets the recent and remembers the past, where like the granddaughter would disappear to this woman and that wasn't happening. It was just, it was very recent, she was forgetting what happened yesterday, not that the granddaughter existed. And that kind of took me out of it as far as that aspect of it. MZ mentioned that this movie walked a fine line as to whether it was supernatural or medical. This movie drunkenly staggered down the road as to whether it was which side it was going. Like, it didn't pick a side. It zigzagged down the road as it went. It didn't let you. There was no indication that it couldn't not be either of these things, and that bothered me. Like, I was just like, okay, yep, they're just kind of just going all in on this, and the metaphor with the house, with what they were talking about with the house, that was lost because of how the dementia was perceived. I don't know how you would do it because of how the mind works with dementia, but it didn't. That metaphor was lost on me because it wasn't done correctly. The end of the movie, although I understood, I think what they were trying to do, did not like. I did not like the end of it. I was going to not directly mention. It was because of how it borderline uncomical because of how one of the characters appeared. MZ already mentioned. Because of that, it took me out of that scene. But there was some good tension involved leading up to the whole thing. The special effects, I hated. I didn't think they looked good at all. Very rubbery. I don't know how anyone liked these. I forget which one of them said they liked them. I'm appalled that you like them. I understand it was a short, probably a small budget. Did not like them. All of that being said, this movie is worth a watch. This movie is a treat. Wow. I understand. Like I said, I understand everything I just said contradicts my verdict, but this movie had enough because of where I come from.
Yep.
I could nitpick, but I could also understand. And there was enough good with this movie. It is worth a watch, partially because it is a quick watch as well. And it is a slow burn. And because it's short, that slow burn picks up very quickly. So check it out. And thank you for bearing with me for that ramble.
Well, I did enjoy getting your perspective, Aries, because obviously Alzheimer's is not dementia. You know, that's my point of reference.
Yeah, I mean, they people do use them interchangeably. Yeah. Yes, it's that was kind of left up in the air as to which it was.
Yeah,
I tend to think it was more of Alzheimer's. I said dementia because the word Alzheimer's was escaping me at the moment.
Hey, I was using schizophrenia, so
yeah,
that's that.
I think that it can be generic enough that it could be one of a couple things. You know, for me, it wasn't necessarily Alzheimer's because it wasn't necessarily my experience. So yeah, but regardless, I'm glad that you were able to sort of. You have a different perspective and you were able to see that this may not be how it was or how it is or how it should be, but you were still able to glean some good from it and like it. So I do appreciate your perspective on that. All right, so for me, I obviously if it wasn't clear, this is a big treat for me. I think that this is, above all else, a beautiful portrayal of empathy, especially that end scene. And Aries, I can understand why it might not land for you, or it might not land for other people, because something happens where it's kind of unexpected, and it takes you back a little bit, because it almost turns into a body horror film in a sense. I don't want to say too much more than that, but it was jarring, and it's like, whoa. But the metaphor of what happened really fucking sold it for me. I don't want to say more than that because it's going to be a giveaway about something that happens at the very end. But I just think that is such, and just to let you guys know, I'm actually quoting T-Dog on this one because she said it afterwards, and I was like, I'm stealing that because that's basically what I would have said, but much more eloquently. So I think it's a beautiful portrayal of empathy. I do think the scariest thing to most people in life is losing themselves and losing their memories and their minds, right? Like, that's the one thing that we can count on is for the most part, we can count on, waking up, doing our thing every morning, getting up, going to the bathroom, making breakfast, smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer, whatever Raven Shadow does in the morning. But when you wake up and those daily mundane things aren't easy to do anymore, like, that has got to suck, And I think that, that this is a fucking horror movie. Losing your mind and losing your memories and losing your ability to just function normally is scary as fuck. So that is one perspective. The other perspective is watching somebody go through this, watching a loved one, watching your mother, your whatever, go through this and having to experience that of watching them go through this and not be able to come through or not be able to do the things that they need to do and reacting in a way that seems out of character and reacting in a way where they might not even remember who you are or remember things about you. That is fucking scary for that person, so that's why I think that this works on multiple levels. And it really just does a good job of portraying that for everyone involved. I thought that this was a beautiful fucking film that really resonated with me. It really left a mark on me. And afterwards I was like, kind of like there, like I felt like I was like exhausted after. I was like, fuck, and I just think it was so fucking beautifully done. I love this movie. I'm not, I don't know that I'm going to watch it again anytime soon because it's a tough watch, but I am eager to, because there's things that I might want to watch again to see how I view them, knowing what happens, So yeah, I fucking love this movie, and I think it's a beautiful movie, and I think a lot of people should definitely check this out. Once again, it's not for everybody. Some people are not going to dig this. If you liked films, I don't want to say it's like The Babadook at all. I'm not saying it's like that movie, but if you enjoyed films like The Babadook, I think MZ mentioned a couple other films. Hereditary is another one. Films that on the surface are horror movies, but if you dig beneath the surface, there's a lot more going on there. If you enjoy those, check this out. Even if you don't, I would say check it out anyways. It's and there's some great performances. I thought all three women really portrayed themselves incredibly well in this. Especially, I thought the grandmother, I think this is her fucking acting debut, if I'm not mistaken.
No, she's been in other things. She looks very familiar to me.
She had been?
Yes, she looked very...
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else. Yeah, she has been. Sorry.
I was
thinking about the last one. You're right. I was thinking about the woman from last week, The Beach House. That's right. But yeah, she has been in a bunch of stuff. So my apologies. She was actually, speaking of which, she was in The Matrix Revolutions as Counselor Dillard. I don't know if I think I do remember her from that, actually. So, but I thought that she was very good in this. Everyone was really good. Yeah, it's a great movie. I think people should check this out. So there you have it. That is our discussion about Relic. It is available now on VOD. If you want to, go ahead and check it out. And if you watch it after the fact and want to let your thoughts be known, feel free to message us. We would appreciate that. We have in the chat room, First Time Mike, Evening Family. He says, yeah, der hey, from the Milltown. I'm not sure what that means. That must be a colloquialism, is my guess. But First Time Mike says, losing my mind and identity terrifies me due to family history. That fear has kept me away from drugs and drinking till I black out. Raven Shadow.
Listen, that's fine. You can do that. Get used to it. No, it's self-induced is one thing, but when it fucking sneaks up on you like a fucking, prowler.
A prowler.
Prowler. Not good. But yeah, no. Yeah, you do get used to it first time, Mike. Occasionally you make the phone call the next day. Yeah, that was a good party last night. So what did I do after 11 o'clock? That wasn't so bad. Okay, cool. I'm not saying recent.
Yeah, you know what? You were the first person I ever called up and asked where they were. And this was 10 years before mobile phones existed.
That's true. and what did I say, Aries? And that fucking.
It took you a couple seconds, but surprisingly, you said my room.
Oh, Jesus.
I was 17, man.
Corny says, I misinterpreted something on my call, I think. Oh, don't worry about it, Corny. I mean, it's up for interpretation. There's no, there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you think it is, So, all right, well, that is going to do it for our discussion of Relic. Check it out. Next week, as I mentioned previously in the show, we are going to do two films. One of them is Message from Space from 1978, a Japanese knockoff of Star Wars. And it is available on YouTube if you want to check it out. Just look for Message from Space 1978, and you can check it out on YouTube. The other film we haven't picked yet. We're still deciding, hemming and hawing, going back and forth, but we'll pick another wrestling-themed movie to talk about next week. So we'll be doing two films. And once again, ask us anything. Send us your questions, anything that you have on your mind. We want to know what you're thinking. Send us a question and every voice message, or just tell us what you're up to. I don't know, promote something. If you're an artist, promote it. If you talk about the show, talk about favorite. Always on Milestones, you can talk about favorite memories, favorite episodes, favorite movies that we hipped you to, whatever. So we'd love to hear from you guys, and everyone who sends us a voice message gets entered into a contest to win a prize. And they'll get the latest film from Morbid Vision Films, Morbid Tales, starring or not as the lead, but featuring Monster Zero.
That's right.
So, and it'll be signed by Brian Paulin as well. So, send us your voice messages. Speaking of voice messages, we have a few. First Time Mike says, "Ooh, I love Star Wars ripoffs." First Time Mike, I'd be curious if you've seen Message from Space. If you have not, I would love for you to check that out and let us know what you think, because I am curious. I know you're a big fan of that sort of thing. So, all right, well, let's start out with our buddy from Melbourne. Let's hear from Tim Chuma.
All right.
Unbelievable. Yep, Tim from Melbourne here again. Not on the train this time.
Good.
I haven't seen the movie Relic, but they're pushing a lot on the streaming service Stan, which is another streaming service. I don't need to get another one. No Tenet now. So they're not going to release until the cinemas reopen, which could be a while. Should have just released it on streaming services. Even the wrong Missy got 65 million people watching it. All right, thanks.
All right. So thanks, Tim, and glad we definitely were able to understand you a little bit better not on the train this week.
Yeah.
And he is talking about Stan, an Australian streaming site, I imagine. And yeah, I do know that this was getting a big push over there because obviously it's an Australian film. So yeah, I'd be interested to get some of our Australian brothers and sisters to get their thoughts on it. But yeah, it looks like Tenet has been once again moved. I know a lot of people are looking forward to the new Christopher Nolan film. Raven, are you still a fan of Chris Nolan?
Yeah, big ups to Nolan.
Big ups.
Nice pictures. Yeah. I mean, Rises fucking sucked. I'm sorry, but no, I love Nolan. I do love Nolan. Memento.
One thing about I know he's a huge fan of film, which I'm a big, obviously I'm a big fan of 35 millimeter film as well. And I'm glad that there are people championing it still. So my guess is he's probably like, fuck no, this is not coming out on digital first. It's going to be in theaters. I don't care if we have to wait. But that's my feeling is like he probably does not want this to come out on digital.
That's a good point, Johnny. Actually, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he's part of a group of people in Hollywood. I want to say Quentin Tarantino is part of the group as well. They're trying to save film, basically. And trying to make sure that a certain amount of films each year are made using actual celluloid, and making sure that all the equipment is available for people to use it, and to make sure that there are some theaters that still play 35 millimeter instead of digital. So, I'm glad that there are people championing that, because obviously I'm being a former projectionist and being a connoisseur of a film. I'm glad that there are people in a place of power that are able to actually do something about it.
A projectionist.
No, not that. No, fucking Mickey Rourke, the projectionist. Oh God. So, all right, Tim Chuma, thank you. And now let's hear from Evil Corny.
Evil Corny. I saw Relic this week. I'm giving the film a treat without spoiling anything that happened in it. I kind of want to know from you all, what did you all think was going on in that house? I couldn't tell if it was servants' quarters that house was set up on, but the entrance on that was kind of weird. How that was set up. Talking about houses, I actually saw a Japanese film called House from 1977.
Oh yeah.
I got it on the Criterion sale from Barnes and Noble. It was like 50% off, and I think MZ might have mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. But I think that movie might have gave me a hallucination, or I might have had a concussion before I started to watch it, because it was some wild shit happening in it. Overall, I think the director that did it might have been high the whole time when he directed it. But it's supposed to be a bit of a horror film, but it's just a weird haunted house type film. And I think that you all should watch it and review it at some point. I kind of want to see what Raven Shadow thinks of it. You all have a good one. Evil Corny out.
All right, Evil Corny. Thanks, buddy.
What up, Raven Shadow?
Evil Corny.
Oh.
Yeah, I was waiting.
In the layer of low swag with everybody's stuff. Y'all have a good one. Evil Corny out.
Hey, call me.
All right, Evil Corny. Thanks, man. And so what did he say? He was asking about the house. He thought it was like a service entrance. Something weird about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of wondering that too. Like, it's like, whether it be like the Golden Girls house or the Brady Bunch house, how they would have the exterior and the inside's totally different. Like, there was some stairwell scenes that I thought were like, where the fuck is that going? And I had some concerns about, what, maybe this woman shouldn't be living alone. Especially when the bathroom incident happened a year prior. Now, once again, the Nile isn't just a fucking river. But I mean, like, if you're overflowing the fucking bathtub a year later, you gotta have somebody come over the house and check things out. I'm not sure how Australia works, but we have visiting nurses in the States, and riots and fucking other bad shit. But I'm not gonna fucking hate on you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she shouldn't be living alone. There's a lot of stairs in that house.
She should have one of those things that one of those things that brings her up the stairs.
Yeah. That worked real well in Gremlins.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's also talking about Hausu, and it's about time someone else watched it, and I think it's about time you guys watched it.
Well, yeah, I saw that on Facebook. Isn't Carando a big fan of it? Isn't there a cat involved?
Yeah, there's a cat. Yeah, there's a cat in the movie. Yeah.
All right, well, can I borrow your copy? Send me a link.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right.
But check it out. I mean, it's in the strictest sense, it's not a horror movie. It's got horror elements. It's really a fairy tale, but it's one of the most fucked up movies I've ever seen in my life. One of the most original films I've ever seen. It's truly original in so many different ways.
Is it truly outrageous?
Truly outrageous.
Yeah, I saw that, Corny. I watched that. That's I'm definitely due for a watch, and maybe that's something that we will do on a Patreon eventually. I know we've been talking about that. I mean, we could also just do it on the regular show sometime. That there's a lull. I mean, maybe with COVID, I don't know. Like there may be a week where there's just nothing new and nothing that we missed recently. So we'll definitely keep that on the back burner. I'm super curious to check it out. So. Yeah, we'll put it on the back burner and we'll do it eventually. I'll whether it's Patreon or not, we'll do it eventually. So thank you, Corny. And one thing I thought Corny was sort of talking about. It's one thing I sort of wasn't really. A lot of the house was a metaphor, so I don't know if he was trying to get at this, but to me, a lot of what was happening inside the house at times was a metaphor. So it's hard to really go into it too much to describe what I feel happened. We could talk offline about it. So, all right, Corny, thanks, man. Good to hear from you. Now let's hear from Marion, Raven Shadow.
What are they gonna do?
Hello, Trick or Treat Radio. This is Marion. I want to talk about the movie Relic. I really liked this movie, and I liked it for a lot of reasons. I definitely wanted to leave a voicemail regarding Relic, and I wrote down a couple of things, which ended up being about 2 pages of bullet lists of, what resonated with me about this movie. But I've kind of pared it down, so it should only be a few things with minimal spoilers, I hope. But I am unsure about how much you guys are going to want to say about the movie. So if you feel like you haven't seen this movie and you want to, maybe you shouldn't listen to this review. I am a sucker for secret rooms and passages. I have been ever since I worked at Showcase Downtown.
Oh, yeah.
With just the architecture of that building. After I worked at Showcase Downtown, I went to college and used to have dreams and nightmares where I'd find secret passages, secret rooms, and sometimes I'd get lost and not be able to find my way out. So, that aspect of this movie kind of struck a chord with me, and I thought that was great. So, like, on face value, I liked that aspect of the movie. On a deeper symbolic level, I absolutely reacted to the movie as both a daughter and a granddaughter. Alzheimer's doesn't run in my family, but I have witnessed the mental decline of the older generations. And I can totally appreciate the monster / body snatcher / mind fucker that is Alzheimer's. And not even just for the patient, but for the loved ones too. And it must be totally horrifying to watch a loved one lose every part of themselves that made them themselves and just be left with a shell. So I guess that's all I'll say. I really did like this movie. I read that this is a directorial debut, and I'm amazed. I think this is one of the best directorial debut that you guys have done, at least in recent memory. And so I give it a treat and I recommend. And I hope that's okay. Have a great night. Bon voyage and blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye.
I like bon voyage and blah, blah, blah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. Well, thank you, Marion, for sending in your thoughts, and you're very eloquent. And I did hear Marion's cat in the background, Hank.
Yeah.
was trying to get in on the review too. So big ups to Hank. Right, Raven Shadow?
Big ups to Hank. Hank's my dude.
So yeah, I appreciate your thoughts and perspective on that as well. I'm glad you dug it. I'm glad you called in and let us know your thoughts. All right. Let me just catch up in the chat room. First time Mike has seen Message from Space. He says, I have seen Message from Space, but it's been a long time. I'm due for a rewatch. So there you go. All right. Check it out this week, First Time Mike. And First Time Mike also asks, question, is Monster Zero going to stab a house again in Morbid Tales?
You have to wait and see.
He stabs more in the house.
It's not a sword.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention actually earlier while we were talking about the film, but the director of Relic is Natalie Erica James. Apparently she's a Japanese-Australian filmmaker. So I didn't know about the Japanese part of her heritage, but that makes sense in reading what she's going to be doing next. Let me see, where did I find... Shit, I saw what she was doing next, and I lost the article for that. Let me just look it up real quick, because I liked the sound of it, and I wanted to talk about it. So her next film... Does it say here? No, it doesn't say on IMDb. I'll continue to look it up, because I do know... that I read an article about it, about what she's doing. So, all right, so we'll play one more voice message, and I'll talk about that after. But this is from our boy Arkham Josh.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio guys, it's Arkham Josh here. Just calling in, trying to catch up on the last few films. Sorry I haven't been in touch. Actually, things have been a little bit busy around here. We decided to sell our house and buy a new one. So, just kind of been working on a lot of things pertaining to those lately. But I am caught up on the films, so... okay, so a few weeks ago, Metamorphosis. It was nice to see a under 2-hour Korean film. I thought the film was really good. And it had some really good atmosphere, some really good effects. I would say, though, that for a Korean film, and being as short as it was, it did feel a little bit draggy at times to me. I don't know if it was because it was late when I watched it, but... And it wasn't, like, horrible draggy, it just seemed like every once in a while it just kind of slumped. I don't know. But overall, I would say treat and recommend. And then Beach House. Beach House was something I had not heard of. This was a really, really fun film. It's definitely a treat because it's kind of one of those completely out of left field things. It had a very interesting premise, even though very little of it was fully explained. It had a good look to it in the kind of weirder moments without kind of giving anything away. I mean, not that the rest of it didn't look good, but there's just some moments that look especially good. Had an interesting score and a good cast. The story is a little bit loose, so I can't really comment on the story. It's more of just a premise than a story. But I thought that the actors worked really well with what they were doing, and it had some really good effects and some really good tension. So that one I will also give a treat and recommend. And then, that takes us up to this week's film, Relic. Now, I know Relic had gotten a small release into some drive-ins. It's been playing up in Mass, but unfortunately it did not play down here, which I'm a little bummed. I kind of wish I had gotten to see this on the big screen. This was a really good film. It it's another first-time feature director like Beach House was, which was also great for being a first-time feature director. But this one seems a little bit more fully realized in that I can't tell you exactly everything that went on, and I have some theories as to exactly what was going on, but I don't want to discuss them here for, to give away anything deep into the film. I mean, no real twists, but I'm just saying, like, I just don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But again, in a sense, like Beach House, not everything is fully explained, but I think Relic gives you more to work with to kind of come up with your own more realized explanation. And like this one overall has a fantastic look and a wonderful mood and tension, and the score was interesting. It's some fantastic effects. So again, this is a third for this voicemail. It's a third treat and recommend. So there you go. Treats all around, recommends all around. I hope you guys are all doing well. And, I hope the recent heat wave didn't kill anybody off. It's been a rough one. It killed off some of the electrical wires outside our house. I walked outside the other day to a loud kind of buzzing sound, and then one of the wires off of one of the telephone poles actually caught fire and fell down. So I guess that's how you know it's really hot out. All right, you guys have a good one. Everyone stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
All right, Josh. Thanks, man. I'm glad to hear your thoughts on all three of those films, and I'm glad you dug them all. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting getting a lot of feature film debuts, it seems like, this year. I did find the article that I was referring to, and so apparently this is from the latest Fangoria. It says, speaking with Fangoria in the magazine's latest issue, Natalie Erica James, the director of Relic, teases what she's currently working on. She says, I'm writing a few things, and they're in subgenres of horror, I would say. The one that's furthest along is a Japanese folk horror, which is very in the vein of Rosemary's Baby and The Wicker Man, that kind of thing. What do you think of that, MG?
Wow.
That speaks directly to you.
My pants just got tight.
Jesus. She continues, it has to do with pregnancy and the push and pull between selfhood and motherhood, because it does feel like a horror story. I feel like nothing in your life can prepare you for the trauma of childbirth, at least not in what I witnessed when my sister went through it. Interesting. Okay. And then she adds, I'm also writing a demon horror set in L.A. and a body horror set in New York. Sold. Give me all three.
Jesus.
Put them right in my veins right now. I'll take them all.
Is there anything like this previous effort, like this effort that she just did?
Yeah.
I'll be on board.
It's interesting because it seems like she's taking normal sort of things and things that are terrifying and horror, but not something you typically think in terms of horror, like childbirth, right? Like, I mean, obviously none of us are going to know what that ever feels like, but I imagine that's a fucking horror show for a woman to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, why not turn that into a fucking horror movie? Like, and this, like, growing old and dementia, and like, that's fucking scary shit. Losing your mind is scary shit. Turn it into a fucking horror movie. I love it. So I'm definitely she jumped to the top of my near the top of my most anticipated filmmakers just after this. So I cannot wait to see what she does next. So really looking forward to it, and we'll definitely be keeping tabs on Natalie Erica James. So all right, well, that, I believe, is it for voice messages. Let me just do another quick glance here. Yep, that is it. So next week, we're going to have a big show. We're probably going to run longer than 3 hours. So maybe we'll kind of like wrap things up soon here for that very reason. Raven Shadow, what do you think? What did you think of Solo? Did you like Solo? Did you like Donald Glover as Lando?
I enjoyed Solo. I thought Solo was way better than I thought it was going to be. I did enjoy the picture. And I think I know where you're going with this, Johnny. But fucking Donald Glover is fucking dope as fuck, man. He is fucking funny as hell in Community. I haven't seen the Atlanta program. But I know the Childish Gambino stuff he does is dope, and I think what you're about to suggest becoming a reality, I am all on board for.
Yeah, so it looks like at least he said that there's rumors going around that he was cast in a Disney Plus Star Wars show. So I don't know if it's going to be a Lando show, if he's going to have a bit part in another, like maybe it's Obi-Wan's, maybe it's Cassian Andor. Who knows? But yeah, it's exciting, and I also know that Alden Ehrenreich, who played Han Solo in Solo, has said that he would love to reprise his role as Han Solo as well. So,
it's fine. How do you fucking be Harrison Ford?
Well, he wasn't being Harrison Ford; he was being Han Solo.
Well, they're the same fucking guy. Okay.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They both fly ships.
Han Solo's dead. Harrison Ford is not.
It depends on a certain point of view, Johnny. Still we cling to, okay? I mean, to be fair, I'm probably a better pilot. But no, they are the same person. I mean, the closest you could do is young Indy with River Phoenix is the closest you could get to young Indiana Jones. And big ups to Boondock Saints. That's not on Walking Dead. But it's a tough fucking blasted a fucking strap on, you know what I mean, to play. You know what I'm trying to say, Johnny. It's hard to be young Han Solo. And the kid was fine. He had good hair. You know what I mean? Chewie was...
He had good hair.
Good. I like that.
I'm glad you do.
I enjoyed the picture. It was fun. I watched it again the other before.
Before. I watched it the other before. Great.
Other day before now.
The other day before now. Okay.
Treat.
So yeah. So there's and the other thing, Raven Shadow. I don't think you were watching. You're not watching Clone Wars, are you, Raven Shadow? You kind of gave up.
No, I've given up a lot of things, but no, I didn't. I want to start trying. Because then, like, I was watching with Marion, and then she's a little thing where she like, jumps the fucking gun. Nothing, and she knows this.
Wow.
She watches a lot of shows when I'm not around. You know, I know that. But yeah,
you probably fell asleep.
True, but still, unlike drinking, I don't like watching TV shows alone. You know what I mean?
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez. But no, I want to check out more. You say that's good. I like your little recaps you do. I get interested. I'm putting you over.
My little recaps, thanks.
I like your recaps. You're a good writer. You really are fucking good.
Evil Corner wants to know, Raven Shadow, what do you think of Joker War?
I got my own fucking problems.
That doesn't say, it doesn't answer the fucking question. What do you think of Joker War? I got my own fucking problems.
I can't help the Dark Knight, Corny. All right, he's not. I can't help him and Dick. I can't.
You do love Dick, though.
You do love me some Dick. Don't
you? Raven Shadow, you got more problems than a math book.
Yeah. Well, true. But no. Yeah. So yeah, it's like it finally came out. The three joke is going on. I don't know if we need that.
Did you see Batman's new costume?
I don't think we need that either. I don't think we. But I mean, it's probably for some reason. And he'll go
some reason.
It's some reason. Like when I'm fucking too old, Johnny. You know what I mean? It happens.
You're too old. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm actually the youngest person on this podcast, which I enjoy a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I'm the whippersnapper.
You always have that going for you.
I do. I say this to a lot of people. I'm like, well, you know what? You're younger than Monster Zero. And then the feedback I get is, should that make me feel good? And I say, well, it makes me feel good. And that's real talk, MZ. I love you so much. But no, it's probably for an event. It looks like a weird Tron type suit, not Joey Tron, but like the, I don't know. He's in a bad cycle.
Oh my God! You just prattle on sometimes, don't you?
You just
asking me questions.
Open Pandora's box. Wolfie, you just open Pandora's box when you ask him questions.
I ain't the fucking writer. You know what I mean? No, I like, fucking read some fucking Norm Brayfogle shit from the 80s.
I ain't no nurse. I ain't the Red Cross, but I ain't no nurse.
Yeah. Read along Halloween.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Who's next?
All right. Well, I think that's it.
We gotta go.
Let me just.
That's it. Show's over.
It looks like a ton of movies just got moved. It looks like Disney moved a bunch of movies out, like the Star Wars movies, the next ones that were going to come out, whatever ones they're going to be, got moved back a year. Sony just moved Tom Holland's Spider-Man 3 release date. So don't expect too many fucking big movies coming out in the next year or so. Maybe next summer if we're lucky. If people be fucking smart, you assholes. I'm not calling all you assholes, but you ones that aren't smart, just be fucking smart, and this will be over.
The package store I go to has like underlined, yes, you must wear a mask.
Yeah.
On the fucking, like it's like don't be a
fucking dummy.
It's not that difficult.
Just do it. I know there's probably someone out there listening who be like, I ain't wearing a fucking mask. I ain't doing that shit.
Don't be a cock. Wear a mask.
Or just grow a beard like Aries and then pull it up over your mouth and your nose. You ever try that, Aries?
It doesn't quite work. They don't let me show us.
All right. So next week we got a big show, the 8-year anniversary. I want to hear from all of you, all of our listeners, all quad billions of them, if that's even a number. I'd like to hear from a lot of folks next week. So if you guys have the time to send us a quick question, quick thoughts of what you dig about the show, favorite moments, favorite memories, favorite shows, favorite whatever. You could be anything you want. You can ask us any question, anything at all. Raven Shadow, you have a question?
I do. I would even hear like what pissed you off the most. Like, be angry. I'd be fine with that too.
Sure. Yeah. Did it really piss you off when I don't know, MZ said something stupid?
Did most of us?
Wolfie asks the opinion of Michael Raven Shadow, and you get nonsensical diatribes for the next 17 minutes.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Raven Shadow?
Well, allow me to retort. No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Fucking Grimlock.
Oh, and also, it was actually yesterday that it happened, but looks like Corando launched a Facebook page for Maniac Driver. Did you guys see that?
I did.
No.
Oh, there was. I love Corando. Is so fucking awesome as a human being. But I love the fucking Maniac Driver with a motorcycle helmet.
Oh my God. I just saw that picture. Jeez.
And the girl in the shower. Like, Corando, we gotta fucking hang, man, and let's go through some photos together. Because he has a fucking eye for detail. Heavens.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
Heavens to Murgatroyd, Corando. You do a lot of things really well, and there's some things you do really fucking well. And you are.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, if anyone wants to, you can go ahead and like Maniac Driver if you want updates on Corando's next film. Because I believe, let me just want to make sure I get the info right, but I think he said that it's on hiatus for a little bit because of COVID.
Post-production's on hiatus.
Yes, post-production is. But But yeah, you guys can look it up, look for Maniac Driver, and then like it, and you can get updates as to when it's coming out and all that good news. So yeah, give it a look, Maniac Driver, our boy Corondo.
I'm liking that photo again.
Oh my God. Did you save it on your phone?
I haven't yet.
Because he doesn't know how.
Yeah.
I do.
He's probably going to
Johnny,
save
how-
it like 10 times.
Yeah.
All right, so that is going to do it. Why don't we say goodbye, starting with MZ.
Arrivederci, douchebags.
Aries.
Goodbye.
Baby Shadow.
Live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
All right, well, that is going to do it for episode 417. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, everyone who joined us for the live show, everyone who sent in feedback. We appreciate it. We want more feedback next week. We want to hear from everybody. If you're listening to this episode, that means we want to hear from you. Even if you're not listening to this episode, we want to hear from you. I don't know how you know that, but send us a voice message.
Word gets around.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. So, and as we mentioned, everyone who sends us a voice message gets entered into a contest to win a signed copy of Morbid Tales from Morbid Vision Films. And because MZ's shipping it, you know you'll get it in a timely manner.
That's right, you will.
Fuck, I got fucking problems, Johnny.
Again with the problems. I got problems. I got issues. I got troubles.
Yeah, all those things.
You got excuses is what you got.
You do, yeah.
Don't mean it's not true.
All right, so that is it. And thank you to everyone who is going to check out the podcast. We appreciate you guys. Next week, everyone, if you've never watched a live show for Trick or Treat Radio, consider coming next week. It's going to be madness. I don't even know what the fuck is going to happen. We're going to have 8 people on at once at one point in time. We're going to have 7 people on at another time. We're going to answer all kinds of crazy fucking questions, hopefully. So we want to hear from you. Come out. Let's make it a party next week. For those who don't know, it will be on Thursday, July 30th, starting around 8 p.m., and we may go late. I don't know. The milestone shows typically go late, so it could be up to 4 hours. Who knows? Come tune in, hang out with us next week, and celebrate 8 years with Trick or Treat Radio. Until then, see you.